Hey y'all, welcome to Maui Mysteries, the channel that brings you interdimensional content, which means that the readings are from a broad and expansive point of view as they are channeled through vast dimensions of space and time, and therefore should resonate with you guys whenever you want to come across them. So, today's transmission is gonna be kind of talking around I want to say, is it the relationship between the two or just the energies around the two, the energies around the empath and the narcissist archetype. Now, a lot of you probably flinched the minute I said narcissist. You're like, oh, okay, is it this whole clinical narcissist, whatever? I don't know if that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the narcissist archetype within the spiritual journey. And I think that archetype does have similar characteristics to what is like known clinically as a narcissist, but like I wouldn't really know because I don't really look into the clinical definition of the narcissist, but I assume they obviously have like the same foundations or whatever. Maybe the only difference is that the narcissist archetype used to be an empath. The narcissist archetype is an empath or was an empath that didn't expand, that used their spiritual energy, so to speak, to continuously survive instead of to expand. And one could say, but Zanne, it's okay to want to survive. Yes, but you must also understand that expansion is also a form of survival. But it gives you access to so much more than survival. But it also includes that. But survival just on its own, that's it. It doesn't, just surviving doesn't offer growth a lot of the times. It's just getting from one step to the next. And so the narcissist archetype is the kind of person that use their spiritual energy from a young age because that's where you're taught the kind of survival thing. The empath is usually put in a family. Okay, firstly, the empath is you, the one who is able to feel other people's energies, the one who is able, when they are mature enough, to balance out people's energies because they're able to balance their own. At some point, when the empath starts out, they're not able to separate their own emotions and their thought patterns from other people. They believe that to connect with someone is to absorb them. And because of that, they get lost in their relationships, which is also part of the path because that then makes the empath realize that they lack a sense of self. And so it's time to develop a sense of self. It is time to build a sense of self, which is also where the narcissist archetype comes in, because this reading also has a lot to do with the dance between the empath and the narcissist archetype, because these people tend to end up in relationships together. They're actually very much drawn to one another. The narcissist archetype hungry for the validation and the image that the empath can build of them. They're hungry for the empath's ability to project their higher self or their potential and exchange energy with them as if they were that higher self and not who they actually are. For a narcissist to be with an empath, it's a form of escapism. They don't have to deal with who they are and how empty they feel because the empath will treat them as they wish they were. And the empath is so hungry to be needed, so hungry to save someone, so hungry to express this power that they feel inside them that the social construct tells them can only be expressed in one way. You must heal people, you must save people, and all of this. And they find this wounded person and they can throw themselves into them and they get to be the hero that they want to be. Because deep down inside, the empath wants to be seen. as a savior. This is all unbalanced energy. I mean, this is energy that can be balanced out. Once, like, the path to embodiment like starts to unfold, you start to release these karmic cycles of wanting to be a savior, wanting to be needed, um, wanting to be validated through being used, thinking being used is being loved. These are the wounds of the empath. These are actually also the wounds of the narcissist, but they're over that. Their biggest, the wounds that haunt them the most is they don't want to be seen. The narcissist doesn't want to be seen. Because if you were to really see them, you would see the fact that they feel quite empty, that they haven't developed in ages. They have just survived. The empath, on the other hand, knows that there's so much more to them that they're not able to yet get in touch with. And so they're so hungry for their external world to identify them as something. The external world says, you're a healer, you're a giver. And so the empath gives. Till there's nothing left. Which brings us to quite an interesting part that I wanted to speak about. How there's many paths for an empath to take. The one that I encourage on the channel is one of expansion. One where you can refine your gifts, refine your energy through exploring your gifts and exploring your energy. But sometimes the empath takes the path where they become the narcissist archetype. Like I said, the narcissist archetype was once an empath. A lot of you, I get a lot of emails where people complain about, I wouldn't say complain, maybe just communicate about narcissistic parents, narcissistic friends, narcissistic lovers. And not realizing that firstly the narcissist in the empath's life is part of the journey, and it's there, it's part of the, it's a lesson in unfolding. The relationship with the narcissist helps you understand what you are. The breakthrough from that soul tie allows you to be born again as a different person, no longer referring to yourself as an empath even. Now having the ability to differentiate between your energy and another's. Now not needing to absorb in order to connect or to feel. Now starting to have an idea of where your thought patterns and feelings begin and where another person's end, instead of just meshing everything into one. The relationship with the narcissist is meant to develop your sense of self through losing yourself. But like I said, there's also another path where maybe that doesn't happen and you get so absorbed in the thought patterns of the narcissist that you start to believe that that's who you are. You're a powerhouse for someone to draw your energy and fill themselves up. And your biggest sacrifice would be to allow them. And maybe at that point, they will finally give you this love that you're hungry for, or this awareness that you're hungry for. But obviously that never happens, and in that never happening, the metamorphosis happens where the empath becomes a narcissist. I was talking about how people send me these emails about their parents and their friends and their lovers, and sometimes not realizing that these people were once empaths, that they too made too much room for someone else's need to be something that they have not earned. They made too much room for someone else's need to feel good on a very surface level. These are people that intuitively, at some point, because they were empaths, could feel the other's need for them to be smaller in order for the other person to be bigger. And in a miseducation of what love is, they decided to give that to them. And they can't even remember when that started because they've never stopped giving. That person never got full. They never became whatever this person was hoping to give to them, be it a little bit of joy. If the empath needed to be a victim so that another person could be a hero, you see, it's like those dynamics, you don't realize that the only reason why maybe your mother or your sister is always acting like a damsel in distress or like a victim is because she felt the need of certain people around her to feel like heroes, to feel stronger. And in energetically feeling that, she decided to make herself smaller, hoping that it would give these people that she loves just that little bit of energy that they needed, and it would encourage them to become those things. But they never do, because you can't speak awakening into people. You can't speak love into people. You can't do someone's inner work for them. All you can do is activate. But those people were already in their narcissistic archetype, and they were not going to activate. They were just going to take and take. The people around you that you're now feeling are narcissists were once empaths, and they became what they are because they forgot what they were to begin with. They got so caught up in another person's need. They got so caught up in their eternal giving, in their eternal saving, that they've even forgotten how it all began. They actually now do feel like they now need another person to be smaller, to be less, so that they can feel like more. And now that person is you. Yeah, and that karmic cycle for sure. But I mean, like, you found this channel and others like it. God willing, that will not be you. You're gonna break that cycle, because you're gonna go from empath into embodiment. From my lips to God's ears. From my lips to your entity's ears, to your iNzunza's ears, to your ancestors' ears. You got this. You're not going to become the people that hurt you. You're not going to perpetuate the cycle that is currently your training ground. The people that come after you are going to have a different kind of education, a different kind of training. The empaths that come after you are going to have a different type of training. One where becoming is not categorized just by suffering, but by liberation. Understanding that this journey is not a journey of suffering. Does it have suffering? Yes. But it's a journey of liberation. It's a journey of freedom. Yeah. And those people that are now in narcissistic archetypes and caught up in that, those are the fallen. That's what they should describe as fallen angels. Because the other people that they describe to you as fallen angels, them niggas are not fallen. Them niggas jumped. But these guys are fallen. It's a damn shame. But it happens. So don't let that shit happen to you. Yeah, and also because, like, I noticed, like, within the social construct, there's this thing where the one that partners up with the narcissist archetype is seen as, like, the victim and, like, oh, poor you dated a narcissist, whatever. You both have layers of that narcissistic archetype, the same way you both have layers of the empath archetype. The reason why you are paired to this one is because you also have certain characteristics that are just the same as this one's. It's just that when we do categorize them, maybe we'll call you all different things based on the main characteristics that define your personalities. But ultimately, you're the same thing, just in different dimensions. And that's important to say, not as an attack from my side, but as a point of self-inquiry that allows expansion. You get people who are, you can tell that they've done a certain amount of self-inquiry in their own time. And it's not like they have to confess those things to you, but you can tell in the way they speak. They're very aware and open to learn more. These are people where their readings and their activations tend to work quite quickly because they are open to expansion. Then you get other people who don't understand that this is a journey of self-inquiry. The people that would never accept the fact that they attracted a narcissist archetype because they have some sprinkles of that within themselves. That doing for someone so much, even though they don't water you back, is also, you're not really doing it out of love. You're doing it out of fear of being left. You're doing it out of wanting a person to love you. And that's a form of manipulation. That is narcissistic. You are playing the same game with this person, you're just playing it in a different way. And that's not an attack on your personality. We've all been there. It's an observation, one that might be required in order for you to expand past this stage. It might even be the observation you require to not turn into the narcissist archetype, so that you're able to transcend this training ground and not forget what you are. Nice. Okay, cool. I guess that was like a 21-minute intro because you've got the King of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and you've got the Page of Wands. You guys are survivors of the empath narcissist dynamic. And maybe you just needed someone to say certain things out loud that you've been suspecting, but you guys do see the role that you played in attracting the people you've attracted into your life. People that you may now claim, used you or they hurt you when they didn't care. You're also very much aware of the hunger you had going into such a union. And the reason why you're able to see that is because you no longer have that hunger. You filled it with a sense of self. You filled it with awareness of yourself. You realize that what you were hungry for the whole time was yourself. You were just trying to get it from another person, and you can never do that. You went into certain relationships wanting to be honored, wanting to be loved a certain way that you felt like you should be loved, but not being able to even explain to yourself why. Why must you be loved like that? And yeah, okay, cool. Some people will be like, no, everybody deserves to be loved. Okay, that's great and everything. But you and I both know that's not how it works in our realm. In our realm, you earn everything. You earn yourself. That's where our self-love comes from. And that's why it can never be taken away from us, because it's not given through the social construct. So even if a social construct tumbles, our love for ourselves never, it doesn't go anywhere. Because we built it through the self. And yeah, you learned how to do that. Look at you, Queen of Wandsing. It's like you're still compassionate and you're still thoughtful and loving, but you you're wiser, fam. You got your boundaries. You're much more intelligent than you used to be because you're much more intuitive than you used to be. You used to fight your intuition. You're much more in line with I want to say you're much more in line with your softer qualities because those were the qualities that were being taken advantage of. Um, so you're much more protective of the part of you that gives. You're much more protective of the part of you that protects. You're much more protective of the part of you that understands. Now you're able to understand but with discernment. Now you're able to love another, but also love yourself. You're able to be compassionate, but be aware. You no longer need to absorb in order to feel. And it makes you so much more wanting to meet people and engage with people because now you feel safe within yourself. you trust yourself. You know that no matter what happens out here, you gonna be alright. No matter what happens, you're gonna be fine. If the person lies, if they decide to try and manipulate you, if they decide to cheat, whatever it is fine. You're gonna be fine. You know that now. Because you no longer depend on another person to be a certain way in order for you to be you. And that doesn't mean that certain actions don't hurt you or certain things don't have you thinking, this nigga got me fucked up. Like, no, you get that, but also nothing will ever take you away from you ever again. You will never be prey ever again. Facts. You're a high frequency monster. Like, I don't want to call you a predator. So you're a high frequency monster. Like, you're good. You ain't got shit to be afraid of. And Nia should be afraid of you. I mean that in, like, you know, the most namaste way possible. The most light worker way possible. Hey, Nina. You're so afraid of yourselves. Yo! I've been fun ukuba little lambs. Okay. Nizaba is true, Sana. Nizaba lamb chops and go keep wanting to be the lamb. Guys, that's what I have for you today. I hope that reading resonated. If it did, like, share, subscribe. If you want to book a personal reading, all that information is in the description box. If you want to book a mentorship session, description box. Guys, it description box. I think kubhalwe more ... Tap lapho bese kuyavuleka. Bese that's the description box. Okay, guys. Shop, guys.